Hey everyone, in this video we're going to take a look at this 2021 Mercedes-AMG GLE 53 Coupe. And let me do my best to explain to you what all those words and letters mean. So Mercedes-AMG implies that this is an AMG model, but the number 53 as opposed to 63 implies that this is the lower tier of what will ultimately be two different AMG variants of the GLE. Now, the GLE itself is primarily sold as a regular boxy styled SUV. This being the coupe version, comes with a more steeply or less steeply rear roofline. It's kind of like a sedan version of an SUV. Think of the GLE as the competitor to the BMW X5, and think of the GLE Coupe as BMW X6. You can look at Mercedes-Benz SUV nomenclature in relation to their sedans. So the GLA is Mercedes subcompact SUV. That is the SUV equivalent of the A-Class. GLC is the SUV equivalent of the compact C-Class sedan. GLE here is the SUV equivalent of the midsize E-Class sedan. And then the top dog GLS is the SUV version of the full-size legendary $100,000 plus S-Class. So this is mid-size, performance-oriented, still with a little bit of a focus on comfort, and it's a coupe SUV. So let's do a quick walk around inside and out, then we'll take it for a drive and talk a little bit more about it. So these coupe-shaped SUVs have never really bothered me. Like, the whole idea of them is a little weird, I'll admit, but they sell and automakers keep building them. One of my favorite design elements of Mercedes in recent years is this convex shaped grille. It debuted on the AMG GT sports car, and you can see it's now made its way to the company's SUVs. These are 21-inch wheels. The AMG GLE 53 comes standard with air suspension. So I think it's either in its middle or low setting right now, but it can raise up pretty high. I was at a trailhead just yesterday, and I put it in its high setting just to get over a curb to get out of a parking spot. Check out the hatch here. I really like the hatch release. It's integrated into the logo. Power hatch. Cargo area is not too small. You do lose some overhead clearance there, but altogether not bad. Here's a fun feature I found. So this button, you pull it and the vehicle will squat. So the air suspension, is it working? Yeah. The air suspension will sit the vehicle down to its lowest possible setting, and the idea is that it's easier to get things in and out of the cargo area with the vehicle squatted down like it is there. Yeah, so you can see it leaving a little bit of tuck up into the fender there. Anyway, close this and hop inside. Okay, let's turn it on. All right, there is a ton of stuff to talk about in this interior. I'm going to try to keep this kind of short with some of my highlights. You can see I've already got it up on this page. So the infotainment system is pretty good. These are actually two separate screens here. So this is a touch screen, and then this is just a digital gauge cluster. It's not a touch screen. There's no reason for it to be a touch screen. But you can see, so I've got it on its comfort page here, and you can change all these different massage settings. You can change things with the seat heaters. I like these ones. These are the energizing comfort, call them options. We'll put on vitality here. Start. Control this via this touchpad or the touchscreen. And it actually plays music, turns on the ventilated seat. You can hear it there. I'm being massaged as we speak, and it even changes the color of the ambient LED lighting to match this vitality theme here. Give you a listen. Can't imagine this is trademarked music. Well, maybe it is. We'll see. Anyway, moving on. There are a whole slew of options here. You can go down further and talk training, so you can talk about muscle. 10 minutes of muscle activation. And then there's a setting down here. Tips, upper body. Listen. It just gives you like a pep talk about posture and neck and head and shoulders and all kinds of different things. Really crazy. So that's one of my favorite features. Another cool thing, this being the AMG Performance model, it's not the top dog 63 model, but it's the 53, which has a turbocharged inline six-cylinder, makes about 429 horsepower and 483 pounds-feet of torque, I believe. You get all these cool performance configurability switches here. So these are LCD screens. This one's a rotary dial, and then this one has two buttons here. So you can actually click the screen to cycle through the different areas of the vehicle here. So there's suspension, exhaust, which is a fun one. We'll go and adjust that. So right now it's on normal mode. Press this, and it's on, I think they call this, powerful mode. So you can change your exhaust. You can adjust the suspension height, so mid, high. So, yep, it's raising up as we speak. And then over here, you can quickly cycle between a few different drive modes. Can you hear that? Yeah. You can quickly cycle between different drive modes. You've got Comfort, Sport, changes the screen up there, Sport Plus, and then you go back, you've got Individual, Snow, Trail, Sand, and then if you press it, it takes you straight to individual mode, which you can configure all of these different settings for individual mode right there. And then I'll just add to that there are a lot of redundant controls in this vehicle as well. So this whole row of switches here adjusts most of what you can change via these, call them screen buttons here. So here you can switch between manual and automatic mode for the transmission. You can turn off stability control. You can raise and lower the ride height, adjust the suspension, and switch the exhaust from normal to powerful mode right there. And then the last thing I wanted to show you is in the glove box here. So I knew of this in the BMW 5 Series, but I didn't know it had made its way to other vehicles. This is a little scent cartridge. It's actually AMG branded. Yeah, smells pretty nice. I'm not sure if it's supposed to heat up. You can see it sits in there, and it even has its own little LED light. But yeah, scent cartridge. Inside the glove box, there's also a first aid kit in here. There you go. Very German. And yeah, so there's a scent canister inside the glove box of the AMG GLE 53 Coupe. Okay, now to take this thing for a little ride. I know you probably can't see a lot of daylight back there. Because this roof line is so low. So the back window is pretty small. Visibility is not great. It's never good in these coupe-styled SUVs. You do have blind spot monitoring, lots of parking sensors with this thing. I have found the parking sensors, though, to be really invasive. They go crazy pretty much anytime you're pulling into or out of a parking spot. They certainly alert you when something is close, but they're just a little bit aggressive. And then on 2 occasions, actually, they went off when there was absolutely nothing around me. They actually applied the brakes, which was questionable with regard to overall safety. They just put the brakes on and nothing was around. And then another time I was pulling out of a driveway onto a main road, and there was one of those like cement canals, like really shallow cement canals between the asphalt driveway and the asphalt road, and the car was at a little bit of an angle, and again it just reacted as if there was a vehicle about to T-bone me. And again, also applied the brakes, in fact. And yeah, so parking sensors, just because it's a German luxury car doesn't mean they use the best technology for that kind of stuff, so keep that in mind. There you go. I came within, I don't know, 2-3 yards of my wife's car, and the parking sensors went off. Not necessary at all. So we're going to start off here in normal mode. So the suspension is set to mid, the exhaust is normal, and the drive mode is set to comfort. So that was about 50 miles per hour. Let's go Sport Plus. Everything gets a little louder, suspension gets tenser, transmission gets more aggressive with regard to shift points, coming up to a red light. Get in the right lane so we can hammer it here. You get a little bit of a burble from the exhaust when you lift in sport mode, well, with the exhaust in that powerful setting. So a few weeks back, I drove a Mercedes-AMG GLE 43, which is, again, the lower tier AMG version of the compact GLC SUV. And I have to say that one was a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more, I can't believe I'm gonna say this about an SUV, but it was a little bit more sports car-like. The GLE 53 here is a good balance of performance and comfort, and I think that is more in line with its customer. I think the GLC AMG buyer is probably a little younger. They're looking for a little more performance. They're looking for a vehicle that's a little bit more expressive, and that vehicle was just all around louder, a little twitchier. This one forgoes a little bit of that performance tilt in favor of a slightly more comfortable overall experience. Certainly still pretty fast, but again, the GLC 43 is actually quicker than this vehicle to 60. So that vehicle with, I think, about 375 horsepower takes, I think, 4.8, 4.9 seconds to go from 0 to 60. This one is clocked at about 5.3, I think, according to Mercedes-Benz. So another thing, this thing has voice control, and anytime you
repeat.
Anytime you say,
what do you want to do?
Anytime you say MB, but you actually say the brand, it hears you and then asks you what you want from it. So I'm sure that's a feature that can be turned off. Generally, voice control is more of a headache than it's worth, but either way, I'm sure it works. It's just sometimes it works when you don't want it to. So overall, this thing is pretty comfortable. It's $94,000, so it should be. And like I said, it is the AMG 53 model. I'm sure a 63 model will join down the line, and that'll come with a turbocharged V8. This one uses a turbocharged inline 6. But for now, this thing is plenty fast. It's actually the only GLE coupe that you can get in the US right now. But yeah, this thing is extremely new. It's just now going on sale, and I'm sure lower tiered versions along with that top tier AMG 63 version will come out here in the US pretty soon. But for now, this thing's pretty much a best of both worlds kind of situation. It's comfortable. It's got a built-in air freshener. It's got a built-in relaxation coach, massaging seats, ventilated seats, and all these crazy performance settings like an adjustable exhaust. I mean, what more can you want out of a performance vehicle than an adjustable exhaust? So yeah, I think that about wraps up the GLE 53 Coupe review. Probably just gonna cruise around a little more here. This thing's pretty fun to drive, pretty nice to drive. Thanks for watching.